Here we go. We're going to tap on the physical symptoms of anxiety. So I'm going to say words, tap along, follow my actions. If you have words that are more appropriate and more relevant to you, please use them, because the more specific you are to what's going on for you, the more effective it's going to be. So tapping on the side of your hand. Even though I'm feeling this anxiety, and it's a very physical thing. I feel it in my body. I feel this tightness. I feel it in my head. I feel it in my shoulders. I feel it in my chest. Or I feel it in my stomach. And it's like somebody has a hold of me, holding on very tight, really squeezing. And there's so much pressure there. And it's so uncomfortable. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I feel this anxiety. And it's such a physical feeling. I know when it's there, my heart starts racing, or my stomach lurches. And I really don't like the feeling. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I feel this anxiety. And it's a very physical feeling. I notice it in my body. This tightness, this tension, this squeezing, this pressure. And I'm feeling it in my body. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Feeling this anxiety. I feel it in my body. This pressure inside of me. I feel my heart is going to jump out of my chest. This tightness. Sometimes it's a bit like a vice grip. This tightness, this tension, and all of the pressure. Feeling it inside me. And it's so uncomfortable. Feeling this tightness, this pressure, all of this emotion. And it's a bit scary, because it really feels like it's got a grip on me, holding on very tightly. It's a little bit terrifying. This tightness, this tension, this pressure, feeling this anxiety, feeling this anxiety, feeling this anxiety. Okay, now take a big deep breath in and out. Okay, and just notice how you're feeling after that. And you might like to write down a little bit how you're feeling. And now we're going to go into the second round. So even though I'm still feeling this anxiety, and I really try very hard not to feel it, I try to push it away. I try to pretend it isn't there. And that just makes it worse. The anxiety is telling me that something is out of sync. Something is out of balance. But it is terrifying. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I still feel this anxiety in my body. Noticing the tightness, tension, this squeezing of my insides, and how uncomfortable it feels. And I wonder, would it be okay to give some kind space to allow the anxiety just to breathe a little and to release some of that pressure, and honoring that it's there for a reason, although it doesn't feel good. And I deeply and completely accept myself, even though I still feel this anxiety, this tightness, this uncomfortable feeling. And I try to push it down, just march through it. And that sort of makes it worse. I wonder, would it be okay just to pause, to give some kind space, to allow the anxiety to be, to breathe a little, to release some of the pressure, so it doesn't feel so crushing. And I deeply and completely accept myself. Feeling this anxiety in my body. I'm still feeling it. This tightness, this pressure. And I try to pretend it's not there. I try to push through it, or I squash it down. And that makes it worse. And the anxiety, it's there for a reason. It's letting me know that something is out of balance. Something is not right for me. Or maybe something is unresolved. And I wonder, would it be okay to give some kind space to allow this anxiety to breathe a little, just to be, and releasing some of the pressure, like letting the air out of a tire, so it doesn't feel so intense, and only doing as much as feels comfortable, giving a little bit of kind space, allowing the anxiety to be, releasing some of the pressure, this remaining anxiety, only doing as much as is comfortable, this remaining anxiety. Okay. Now take a big deep breath in and out. And just notice how you're feeling after that. Check in with your body, see what's going on. So in the next round, what I'm going to do is I'm going to breathe in some healing energy. And as we breathe out and tap, we're going to release the anxiety. So you can choose whatever color or whatever energy that you want. And yeah, follow me. Okay. I'm breathing in this healing energy. I'm breathing out the anxiety. Breathing in this healing energy. Breathing out the anxiety. Breathing in the healing energy. Breathing out the anxiety. Breathing in the healing energy. Breathing out the anxiety. Breathing in the healing energy. Breathing out the anxiety. Breathing in the healing energy. Breathing out the anxiety. Breathing in the healing energy. Breathing out the anxiety. Breathing in the healing energy. Breathing out the anxiety. Okay, now stop and take a big deep breath in and out. And out. And just to notice how you're feeling, and if you want to repeat any part of the video again that you found helpful for you. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I would work with anxiety and how I do work with anxiety with people. And what I always say to people when somebody comes to me with either a negative belief or lack of self-confidence or anxiety, that you didn't pop out of the womb. In most cases, you didn't pop out of the womb with anxiety or feeling like I don't deserve or I'm not good enough. So something has happened. You know, we come into this world as these perfect, wonderful human beings. And then stuff happens, we hear stuff, people say stuff to us, and things get a little bit stuck. And that's what tapping does. It's very good at releasing stuff that is stuck, helping you to process things that happen. And very often, I mean, we all know what the big T traumas are, but there are lots of smaller traumas that happen to us along the way. And as an adult, we might say, you know, that's not a big deal. But for something like something happens in class and maybe you read and you stumble over your words and you make a mistake and everybody laughs at you because maybe you say a funny word or you mispronounce something. And as an adult, we'll say, well, that's not a big deal. But actually to a 5-year-old, that is the end of the world. And maybe you don't, as a 5-year-old, have the opportunity to process all the emotions that happened, with what happened and went down at that time. Or maybe you didn't tell your mom and dad, so they've no idea. So it just kind of becomes internalized and a little bit stuck. So that when something happens later, rather than adult Gráinne reacting, it's 5-year-old Gráinne reacting. And my job as a practitioner, and very often I will use the body to try and get to events, say, look, well, where has this originated? Where has this come from? Going back to the events, clearing it. And what I mean by clearing it is processing all the emotions that the 5-year-old had that are still stuck inside, so that now when you're reacting as an adult rather than going back to your 5-year-old self. And it reminds me of somebody who I worked with recently, and very, very bad in anxiety, really stopped them doing a lot of things, or they felt that they had to get support or have people there trying to do other things. And they just didn't want to live their life like this. They didn't want to be this example to their kids. They just said, look, they have to be seeing a good role model. So we worked, and, you know, through my detective work, we found the events of where this has originated. And they weren't major, big trauma events. Things like not fitting in, feeling excluded, lots of kind of teenagey angst stuff, which lots of us go through. And for some reason, that got lodged inside of her. She never got to process it. And so she was constantly going back to that, oh my God, yeah, this highly charged time, instead of reacting as an adult. So what we did is went back to the events, cleared them. And anyway, the results were fantastic because she was just doing everything on her own and actually was nearly forgetting that she ever had anxiety, because it was just second nature to her now, just to be going where she wanted, driving where she wanted, walking in where she wanted, and not having these feelings. So just to say to people, it is possible to change. I know sometimes people feel it's a little bit hopeless and they feel despair, but change is always possible. So if you want to find out more about how maybe you could work with anxiety, or how I could work with you with anxiety, maybe just drop me a line, message me on Facebook or whatever, and I'd be delighted to have a talk to you. So I hope you found this useful, and we will talk to you again.